And I'm pleased to be joined on this week's show by the Library Director for the City of Elizabeth, Miss Mary Faith Shamil. Director, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
So how long are you there now?
9 months, I believe.
9 months.
Yeah.
Where'd you tell us? You did the show once with Alonzo.
Yes.
I had a scheduling conflict, so tell us about yourself.
Well, let me see now. I've grown up in New Jersey, and I guess this is the third county I'm working in, and I'm hoping soon to be the third county I'll live in because I grew up in Passaic County. I've worked in Middlesex County and lived in Monmouth County. Now I'm looking to move to Union County to be closer to work. I'm working with a realtor. No one needs to contact me. I'm working with my realtor. My house in Tinton Falls is on the market, and I'm hoping to make this area my home very shortly.
So have you been in library science your entire career?
No. Gee, back in the day, I worked in New York City for a couple of advertising agencies. Nothing like the Mad Men days. This was more, you know, the late 70s, early 80s. And then for 12 years, I owned a bookstore in Red Bank where I sold new and used books. And that's what really got me into loving working with the public and loving working with books. And after 12 years of doing that, I went to library school and then became a librarian in the mid-90s.
So tell me about the bookstore. That sounds interesting because there's so many big conglomerates these days, and books with computers.
Yeah.
Did you have rare books as well? No.
Not necessarily. I just had books people wanted to read. I would buy books from people who were moving or their parents had moved or died or whatever. People would come in and trade me books. We dealt in a lot of popular fiction, but I also had some esoteric things that I didn't sell for a lot of money. I had a very popular classic section that was new books, and then I had some new books as well. I sold calendars at Christmas and children's books. I sold a lot of Dover books. If you don't know what Dover books are, they're fabulous in that they're inexpensive, and they would be like paper dolls and Marilyn Monroe, or paper dolls of the president, or paper dolls of famous people in history. They're really cool, and I had a very popular audience for them. And their coloring books are a step above the typical coloring books you would have, you know, medieval England coloring books or ancient Egypt coloring books, things like that. They're a little more intellectual.
So you have a love for books.
Oh, I do. You should see my house. I didn't make a lot of money in my bookstore, but I gained a house full of books. Yes.
You did, really?
Yes.
So did you just close the bookstore or did you sell it?
No, I had to close it.
Okay.
I ended up having 3 huge dump trucks of books. One went to my county library, went to my local public library, and the rest just went to the dump.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, that was sad. But you know, a lot of them went to my house too. I have to be honest. But you know, it was a fun time. But you don't make a lot of money, and I was self-employed, and I had 2 kids, so I had to be more realistic about my future.
Oh yeah. How old are the kids now?
Oh, mid-20s.
Oh yeah. So
now they're fending for themselves. I hope.
They call mom for dinner every so often, right?
Well, actually, they have dinner or whatever they eat at my house.
Oh,
usually.
they eat at your house. Okay.
Yeah, they're still at my house.
So you have been the library director here for 9 months, and you worked in other places in the library as well?
Yes, I did. I started out in Monmouth County Library System, where I was a children's librarian working at like 5 different locations on 7 or 8 different locations on 5 different days of the week. So it was like a crash course on what it was like to work in different library systems. I also worked at my local community college as a reference librarian, and at another local public my local public library as on weekends as a children's librarian, reference librarian.
And so obviously you liked the children's librarian the most, right?
No. You know, I like the creative aspects of it, but I really love being a director of a library. You get to set the tone. You get to introduce the public to new ideas and new things. You get to help other people in their lives or your staff in their lives if they want to grow in what they're doing. It's really challenging, but I find it really
Well, let's
stimulating.
talk about that new stuff, Mary Faith.
Yes,
the libraries that I knew,
Yes.
you know, when you went and got books.
Yes.
You know, and now I go to the Elizabeth Public Library, and one of the things I made sure of early in my tenure was to make sure it was internet accessible as well.
Yes.
And we have a pretty good setup.
We have 150 computers.
Tell us about that.
We're 150 computers, and they're busy all the time. People come in. There's a certain pressure on certain parts of the world to say we don't need print anymore. Your tax forms aren't necessarily printed, certainly from the state they're not printed anymore, but people still need that, so they have to come to the library to get their tax forms, either to print them out themselves or get help printing, doing their taxes online, and that's where the public library comes into play. You know, we have a mobile app. I don't know if you've downloaded our free mobile app yet, but we have a mobile app so that people who are getting the internet off their phone or wherever can find out what's available at the library without ever stepping foot in the library. That's one of the things. But online, the other things that we're doing, we are offering our computer lab to different organizations. We have a woman who comes in on Mondays, and she's trying to help students who are in high school learn how to do job prep or college prep. So she's there using the computer lab. We offer computer classes ourselves. We offer classes on just plain keyboarding, so you know where to put your fingers so that everything types out okay. But we have an introduction to Word, so you can do papers or write letters. How to get an email address. A lot of people don't know how to get an email address, so we have classes on that. We have more sophisticated classes on spreadsheets, the Excel program, if people want to do that. But there's so much that's...
When are these classes had, Mary Faith?
When are they?
When are they had, yeah. There's a set schedule, and you can get that from the app?
You can get that from our app, from our web page, from our Facebook page, any of that. The classes are held at different times of the day. One of the things I'd like to make sure is that we're offering at least one class every day, so that can address people who are maybe retired or work in the evenings can come in during the day. People who work during the day and are too tired in the evenings can come in on Saturdays. So we're trying to mix it up, what we schedule, where we schedule it, so that people can come to us when they have the availability and do whatever they need, learn whatever it is that they need to learn.
So you still see a need for books in the library?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, yes. It does seem like the world of reading is divided into those who still want to read on paper, those who are happy with an ebook, and maybe those who don't read at all and we're trying to convert them. But there's definitely, I've had, e-readers in my hand, and it was okay. But I much prefer it's more immersive when you have the print.
I like a book.
Yes, it's immersive.
As opposed to a Kindle.
Yes, you can smell the book. I don't know if you want to do that, but people like the smell of a book, the feel, the texture of touching the pages. You read the front jacket copy, you read the back jacket copy. It just becomes less distracting, and then it's 2 pages without this and other stuff going on. You
always know where you are in the book.
Yes,
in a book. In
I agree.
You kind of, when's the end or when's the middle?
Yeah, you can bookmark the middle, and it can tell you where you are, and it can tell you how many pages to the end, but it's not the same. To those of us who like print, it's not quite the same. It's nice to have that book in your hand.
So there's still people taking books out and everything. I mean,
yes.
Some people will make you believe that it's strictly geared towards the internet, and a lot of the research is done. There's still people using is the Dewey Decimal System still there?
Yes,
it is.
Yes. Well, that's just an organizing structure,
right,
to help you find what you want. But the Dewey Decimal System is certainly there, and there are libraries that are getting rid of that are just going, what they call bookstore format. I don't think we're ready to do that, though. We still need a little organization right now where we are. Yeah.
Well, I learned that Dewey Decimal System. I'd hate to have it go away. I mean, it took me so long to learn it in school.
Yeah. What's 629 then, or 641?
I have no idea. So 629, whatever 600 goes to a category?
Yes. Which
is?
Oh, I think that's some type of technology. It might even be like if you wanted to fix your computer, you go to 629 to find books on fixing your computer. Not the software aspect of it, but the hardware aspect of it. If you go to 641, you'll find cookbooks. And what's nice about the Dewey Decimal System, you can take that number 641, you can take it to any library that's using the Dewey Decimal System and find the same area of materials that you might want. So I think that's really a valuable thing.
Because all the libraries would coordinate it the same way.
Yes, exactly, because it sets up a uniform schedule that anyone using the schedule will follow. Particularly when you get down to the finer points, you want cookbooks that are based on American diet or whatever, that deal with hamburgers, or that deal with cakes, or deal with bread. They'll all find their own targeted number.
What's interesting about that is when I go to the library and I find it in the card catalog or something.
Yes, on the screen.
You're not finding no more cards.
Yes.
But the staff is extremely helpful. They just point over there.
Well,
and
they shouldn't just be pointing. They should be guiding you.
I know, but I want them to point. I'd rather have them point so I could do it myself.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of interesting. And you go get it.
Yes, but I also think it's nice. The staff is encouraged. Actually, people don't know, where they're being directed to.
But I'd rather,
them. Yeah.
Can you stay with us? We're going to run some commercials, and we'll come back and do some more about the Elizabeth Public Library. Please stay with us. There'll be more about the Elizabeth Public Library in the city of Elizabeth.
Imagine you're enjoying your child's baseball game. As hard as it is to believe, one of the 9 children on the field may be abusing prescription drugs and getting them right out of your family's medicine chest. Join the American Medicine Chest Challenge by taking inventory and securing your medicine, safely disposing of your unwanted and expired medicine, and finally, talk to your kids. Visit AmericanMedicineChest.com to find out how.
Mary Faye Shamil, the library director here in the city of Elizabeth. And one of the things we were talking about at the break, and if I get a complaint from the library, it's the elevator.
I know.
What are we doing?
The elevator, unfortunately, is very old. The elevator went through some updates and upgrades in the mid-90s, but that didn't include all the components of the elevator, including parts of the generator, which actually date back to the age of that edition, which was the mid-60s. So you're talking about an elevator that's 50 years old. Most elevators are scheduled for 20, 25 years at the very most. So we're really behindhand in addressing some of the problems with the elevator. I know, I actually have a call into Otis to see how many trouble calls we had to them over the last 2 years, because it's not as though this was a new problem. This was an ongoing problem for a number of years that we're finally getting around to addressing. Unfortunately, because of state law, we got to go through a bid process. So the whole bid process, to get all the documents ready for the bid process, that may take us another month. This is what I'm told. Then it's a month while the bid is open for people to submit their bids to us. So that takes us probably to mid-July, and then it takes 12 weeks to actually build the thing. So
we're doing a new elevator.
We're doing a new elevator, absolutely, but this is what it takes to do it. We have to go out to bid, we have to wait for those bids to come back, then we have to actually manufacture it once we have all the specifications. That takes 12 weeks, and then it takes 9 weeks, up to 9 weeks, up to 10 weeks, 12 weeks to actually install it, when there will be no elevator service at all. What I'm hoping is that we'll get the okay to have the elevator in limited use until we actually go to the installation point. I think limited use with people who absolutely can't manage stairs. And we're talking about summer months too, when it can be warm. We want people who are handicapped, on crutches, elevators, breathing problems, heart conditions, anything like that. We want those people to approach our staff, approach our security service and say they need access to the elevator. Everyone else, I'm hoping that they can accommodate us by getting that little bit of exercise and climbing the stairs. Because if we have it in constant use, it's going to shut down.
Well, we're working in the right direction on that.
Yeah,
I think some of our viewers wanted to hear that. So what's this that I hear that Lady Elizabeth Carteret is returning to Elizabeth?
She is definitely returning to Elizabeth.
Because we're celebrating our 350th anniversary. This is just another one of those things that we're doing collectively.
This is Lady Elizabeth. The portrait of her has been housed at the Elizabeth Public Library since a copy was made and donated to the library, I think in 1929. If you've come off of our elevator, you may have seen what her portrait looks like. This is she's wearing a Restoration era gown, and we are having someone who works at the library, more or less. She's making a reproduction of the gown to fit the specifications of one of our staff member who has volunteered to impersonate Lady Elizabeth. Lady Elizabeth.
Is that you?
No. I don't have the right coloring. I'm sorry. And I'm probably too tall. Lady Elizabeth is actually the namesake, as you know, of the city of Elizabeth, Lady Elizabeth Carteret, and her husband was the first governor. So we thought, since we have the portrait, since it's so nice to have someone who's willing to put on a costume and impersonate someone, it'd be fabulous to give people the opportunity to meet the First Lady of New Jersey and Elizabeth, the city of Elizabeth's namesake.
And that's going to happen on June 29th.
June 29th during the block party from 1 to 4. The block party starts an hour earlier, but Lady Elizabeth will make a grand entrance an hour later, with her entourage. Yes, and you can come, people can come and they can get their photograph taken, and we will email people the digitized image if they would like. So
now, a lot of people may not know this about the library, but on Saturdays you offer a movie.
Yes.
Is it a different movie every Saturday?
Well, it's not necessarily every Saturday. I'd love it to be every Saturday, and we have one of our trustees, Ted Friedman, who's been offering to monitor, be our babysitter for the movie, because we don't always have staff that's free to go upstairs and sit. So I know he's been doing some, and he's very graciously offered to do that so the staff can be freed. And we're happy to show first-run movies. I'm hoping we'll continue to show first-run movies. Some of the new releases that will be coming out soon that I hope we can get on the air would be Monument Monuments Men, or the Lego Movie. That would probably be for children, and Grand Budapest Hotel. So those are some of the things that people could look forward to coming to visit us and see.
And it's free, right?
It's free. It's free.
Fourth floor?
Fourth floor, we provide coffee and we provide tea. We're also looking into actually having a cold drink so that children who don't drink coffee or tea, they accompany their parents, they can also get something like lemonade or an iced tea as well.
And what would you like to see new in the library?
Besides the elevator?
Yeah, well, that's what I want to see.
Yes,
so I want to hear from you. What's the vision for new things in the library?
I think we want to do more bilingual story times. Right now we do a very popular Lapsit that's a bilingual Lapsit, but that's for the very...
I've come over there and read at the children's library before.
Oh, okay. Yes, yeah. And the kids are fun. They're very responsive. And we're hoping to just expand the bilingual story times that we can give, either have them at more locations at one of our branches, or just have them morph to a slightly older age group than what they do right now. We want to do more with the teens. Someone who will be working in the teen program wants to do one on survivalist skills, or what you should have in your survival pack. No weapons will be included, of course. But he wants to tell people what they need to have, that, you know, that can opener, or that, I don't know, how much water you should have, or how many food products you should have in case we ever have to go into survivalist mode. So he's really into that, and I'm saying, okay, the kids will like that too, you know.
So the newsletter that you put out, how does that work? And I get it every month, I guess.
Yes.
How is it received?
Hopefully very well. I have an email list that I send out. We're looking to do one newsletter that's going to cover all of the summer, that's going to cover June, July, and August. We'll have a pull-out calendar inside that you can post on your refrigerator, so when you want to know what's happening at the library, there it is. We're going to try and get all the movies for the summer run in there. We're going to have all the children's programs, hopefully, and people will just know that the library is a good place to go and to have fun and just to relax. Or
do you count the number of people that come to the library? Is that possible?
Yeah, we do. We have a door counter. It's just a mechanized device that just counts you as you go over, and we have a lot more people coming in than actually have library cards. For library cards, maybe only a third of our population, 50,000 library cards, and we'd like to really increase that number. But the number of people coming into the building, I don't have the count off the top of my head, but it's significantly higher than that.
And that's only the main public library, or no?
We gather them from the other locations as well. We do. Okay. Yes, yes.
And we have the Peterstown Center.
Yep.
And then we have the St. Adalbert's library down in the port section, right?
Yes, yes.
And the Elmore Library.
Yes, exactly. Elmore is a very busy library, but the others have their very faithful people who come there and want to use our computers or check out books or the story times. We have some great staff down at the branches at Eport and LaCourte who do great programs with the kids. The kids know them and like them, and they really...
So tell us about some of those activities for the summer and for the children.
Okay, all right. One of the things they're going to be able to do is to make something that I'm not quite sure what it is. It's an origami...
I don't even know the word.
You know that word. Origami crane LED nightlight. I can't quite figure out how this is going to work, but it sounds like lots of fun. We're going to have a chance to find out what yeast likes to eat, and I'm thinking the summer reading program is entitled Fizz Boom Read. So I'm thinking we're going to find out what makes yeast fizz and then help it turn into bread or other products that rise. So I think that will be kind of fun. And then there's something called Dragons and Dreams, and that's with a group that's an outside group that's going to come talk to the kids, I guess, and tell stories that involve Dragons and Dreams. Who doesn't like Dragons and Dreams?
So yeah, exactly. The Spanish-speaking community is consistently growing in our city.
Yes, it is.
And the library does programs. How do we work together?
In a couple of different ways. We're trying to offer more services for our Spanish-speaking population. We're just starting a group, an activity or a classroom structure with the, I just want to make sure I get the name right. It's the Jewish Family and Vocational Services, and they are going to be offering citizenship classes starting this Wednesday, both at around the noon hour and in the evening. And these will run, you can drop in any time. It's an ongoing rotating curriculum. So if you come in at point B, you can stay through it and come back to point A before you feel you've done enough, or you can continue to recycle through the whole program more than once if you feel that's what you need to feel comfortable taking the citizenship class. We also offer literacy classes with the Literacy Volunteers of Union County, and we're really looking to improve our collection, what we offer to a Spanish-speaking population in books to read in Spanish.
So tell us, before we break, you've worked in other library systems and you own the bookstore. What's your favorite thing about coming to Elizabeth, the 4th largest city in the state?
Well, it's always the people. It's always the people that you meet, shake your hand and say, tell you that you're welcome to be there, and you tell them how much you enjoy, doing what you can for them and for the city. That's what makes it fun and excitement. It's always the people.
And the people are interesting in Elizabeth.
Well, they're interesting everywhere, but yeah, they're certainly interesting in Elizabeth because, especially when you have a large immigrant community, and our country was built on immigrants, and I really believe that we need to support them, and we got to give them access to what they need to become the best citizens they can be.
On that note, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us here this evening. Look forward to working with you at the Elizabeth Public Library for the citizens of our community and making sure they have access to educational tools.
Very good. Thank you.
For Mary Faith Chimillo, I'm Chris Bollwage, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.